Hello everyone, look where we are. That's Denny's. That's a big truck. Yes, we are back at Napanee, sitting in the parking lot at the truck stop. No longer at the flea market. Let me just kind of turn this around. Just pull this forward. I got this tiny little stand, very tiny stand. That should be it. Sorry about that. I hope that first part wasn't too garbled. Anyway, we're in a truck stop. Well, I don't really want you to cut it out. I talked about the truck stop. So we're in a truck stop at Napanee. I'm going to just kind of straighten this out a bit so I can sit straight. And we have a load of stuff in our motorhome. Everything from the flea market because we've left. We kind of packed everything out of there yesterday. And here we are in Napanee, putting my glasses on so I can actually see. Yeah. So yesterday was an interesting day. Because we got ourselves out of the flea market and into the motorhome again. It was a little faster than we had planned originally. But we needed to do it, and so we got everything in about 3 o'clock, I think, by the time Gary was completely finished. Maybe a little earlier than that. No, it was earlier than that. I guess it was closer to 1:30 by the time he got everything out of there and into the motorhome, and then we were gone. So we have my chair. We had to leave a couple of things behind. That's okay. It was things we can replace if we need to, or we don't need to. One was a couple of the garbage cans, a little red cart that I had bought. I just started deciding to hurt. Sorry about that. It was a little cart on wheels, and it wasn't really super sturdy, so it was fine that it went. We did get our two chair-side tables, or bedside tables, whichever, We got those with us. We got my chair, my living room chair with us. You might have seen it in one of the videos, a nice little green wingback chair. We got pretty much everything out of there. We got everything that we had up for sale is in here. All the paper and everything is back in here. It's either underneath or it's inside, and we've got a bed load of things. The living room chair thing is actually behind me on the seat, just behind me. It's upside down, and it just kind of fits there nicely. So we've got it bungeed in place so it can't go all over the house. And we have things piled on top of the black cabinet that we have on the side over there behind Gary's seat. So we have the two bedside. That's the two bedside tables. We're actually up there next to the printer. So when we get ourselves to a point, we need a few days at least to kind of settle in. But when we get ourselves to a point where we're going to be doing more videos again, we're going to be doing a variety of types of videos as we've always done. So we'll do some that are RV living types. We obviously aren't going to be doing the flea market, but we will be doing sales, because the plan is that we're making our way back to Alberta, starting either sometime this month or the very beginning of April. This is March. Well, it's still the end of February, but it'll either be toward the end of March or the very beginning of April that we kind of start across the country. And hopefully we're not going to take a month to get there. We're hoping we're going to be able to get there fairly soon, because we want to be there and we want to get into some of the farmers markets as opposed to flea markets, and maybe a craft sale or two. It'll depend on how big they are and how much they want to charge us to be in them. But we do want to do that instead of what we're doing. We want to travel around more. We'll start in Alberta and we'll see where we go. We have things we need to do in Alberta. We've got to go and see doctors. I've got to get back and see my eye doctors and things like that. And I may end up later on this year having to have an operation on my eyes. Not sure at this point what's going to happen there. But that would make it so that I can actually see clearer if I had that. And before I left, I was at the point where they could have started getting me booked in and making arrangements for me to have the operation. So we'll see what happens when I get back. Gotta go and see my lung specialist, make sure everything's kosher there. I'm sure it is. I'm breathing at 92 to 95 on my own normal with no oxygen and, all that. Even as stressed as I've been over the winter, because I've been inside the motorhome since December 3rd and haven't been able to leave. So, it causes a certain amount of stress. And there's big trucks are going by. If you're hearing noise in the background, that's what it is. So it's just something we're going to have to be doing. We're here at the Flying J because we can be. We can stay here for as many days as we want. Nobody cares. And and when we need propane, it's just across the way. We can. I don't know if we can get water yet because I don't know if they've turned the water back on or if it's still shut off. Possibility it's still shut off. So water might be our biggest problem, but it's really not going to be a problem because we can always go and buy bottled water. And the jugs of water, we can use the jugs of water in the toilet and use the bottled water for drinking. Put it into the fridge. It's not going to be a huge problem. The only problem it might be is for the pump, and then we won't, we'll have to think about that. But if we're putting water in the toilet, when we're using, when we're flushing the toilet, then it's getting the water it needs for the pump. So, you just think about that. So, yeah, it's kind of exciting for us. I actually am feeling very relieved today that we are back in the motorhome and kind of on our way doing something different. Gary was getting exhausted in the flea market, just trying to do it all by himself, and I wasn't really liking that. So and freezing. Older people feel the cold a lot more than younger people. I know I do. And I know that Gary does as well, and you also feel the heat more. But you feel the cold, you really feel the cold. So he was wearing his big winter boots and his big parka inside the flea market, made it very uncomfortable and awkward to do anything. He has been working on doing 3D printing, and he's been doing it some of the stuff is really nice. So we will be selling at the markets, we're going to be selling our 3D printing. We're going to be selling my cards and journals. I'm going to be making more big journals to be able to sell. I've got massive amounts of ideas spinning around in my head. I discovered recently something called story journals, and I want to do more of those because I think they would be a lot of fun, for one thing, to do. But also, I think they would sell better than just a dirt journal that you write in. I can make them pretty, but it's still a journal you write in, whereas this is a journal that's already been written in with a story in it. That you read the journal and you're reading a story. You're putting together a story. So I want to do some of those, and I do have there's some kits that I want to buy for those, but I also want to make some just journals that you can write in that are really pretty. I have all those folios and things like that, the page toppers and all that stuff that I can sell. I also am going to be making my own papers and starting to make my own papers, digital papers. And if I make enough of them, I will probably put them up on Etsy in packages. But I have Photoshop, and I've used Photoshop for years, since I think it was Photoshop 2 or 3 that I got, not CS, like Photoshop 2 or 3, and I don't know what it went up to before it changed to the CS numbers. I think it was like 11 that it went to, but I can't remember. I keep looking that way because that's Gary sitting over there, and he's doing stuff. But anyway, I want to make my own. I'll be doing my own papers. In the meantime, Gary's going to be doing more in the 3D printing. He's going to be working on our vehicle, on our motorhome. And now that we're kind of away from the flea market, the thing with the flea market was we had to go for propane twice a week. So there was 2 days a week was shot. They were generally Friday and either Monday or Tuesday. They were shot. Just because, we'd go down there, get the propane, go and do some grocery shopping and come back. So 2 of the days that we would have had sort of off were used up with getting propane. Sitting here at the Flying J is not a bad thing. We we need to get our generator working again. We rather foolishly, but it's what happened. We didn't run it at all over the winter because we were plugged in, and so we we were, sitting with it not running. And it's an engine. I mean, that's what a generator is. It's an engine that runs. And if you don't start an engine periodically, it can get so that it's really, really hard to get it to start that very first time. So Gary there's a certain kind of screwdriver he needs. So in a couple of days, we're going to take a couple of days and rest, and we'll see how we do without any sort of power, because once this battery is dead, and it's a third of the way gone already, but once it's dead, I won't be able to do any more videoing until we can get power and charge everything up. Gary's going to have to probably go inside and find a way of plugging in and doing his phone, getting his phone charged up so that his phone is charged. He may take mine in and do it at the same time. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But I think when we were in Denny's, there was plugs on the table. When we went into Denny's one time for supper, I think that was one of the comments I made was, oh, there's plugs here on the table. So he may be able to take in his computer, sit and have a cup of coffee, charge up his computer and as long as we've got one that we can access, the bank account that he can access, then we're good. But anyway, yeah, so we're going to be doing videoing, but not necessarily able to upload for a bit. And we'll see if we can upload this video to let everybody know where we are, like what we're doing. As I said, we will be heading back to BC. Now we were going to be going, or not BC, to Alberta. We were going to be going to Alberta directly from the flea market, and this was something. I had gotten a phone call that my brother was sick, and but we've gotten a phone call again and he's fine, and they said don't worry about rushing out here, he's fine. So it's a good thing, because that would have been a trip kind of wasted in a way, a lot of money spent getting out there in a hurry. And we've got things we really need to do here, and there's a person that we really want to meet up with that Gary has made arrangements to meet with in early March, and he's maybe a huge help to us. Maybe not, I mean, we don't know, but he is somebody that we do want to see before we leave the province. And whether we'll be back to Ontario, I feel sad that we're leaving Ontario, because I really like it here. I really like Ontario. I like the feel of it. I like the scenery. I like all the deciduous trees. And I just like the smaller farms and things like that. But, it kind of is what it is. We have to do what we have to do. And we really have to go back to Alberta. So we'll be doing that. But we have to meet with this fellow first, which we'll it could well decide how soon or later we actually go. I think Gary's charging up things using the truck. He's getting his phone charged up using the truck right now. So this is going to get really kind of noisy because the truck does tend to be. So I'm going to shut this off, and now you kind of know the story, of we left the flea market. I mean, we were leaving, but then when we got the call about my brother, we decided to go faster. And there'd been a couple of things that happened that were, they made Gary upset. And he said, that's it. And he was actually in the middle of moving us out when we got this call. And but everything's fine, and we're good. So we will be doing videos as we can, and we're going to try and get onto a schedule possibly in March. I'm hoping that we can kind of get onto a schedule in March, no matter where we happen to be, and we're not sure where that might be. We may be here for a while, we may be in Peterborough for a while. We're really not sure. We may start heading west and stay in, someplace else. I don't know. But we will see. We will see how it all goes. And we will talk to you when we can. So you take care of yourselves. And if you would like to support our channel and help us grow a little bit better, please, hit the little thumbs up guy, the like thing. Subscribe to the channel, because it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. We don't have a join button, so we're not monetized. We're not even close. We're so far away from monetized. It's just sad. But hitting the thumbs up button, subscribing to the channel, leaving a little comment, even if you just use one of the emotes and just a little heart or a smiley or something that just says you were there. It all helps. It all helps towards building our channel and helping the YouTube algorithm, who we all have to bow to. It helps the algorithm know we exist. And then it says, oh, you exist. I'll pass you on to somebody else then. And, you may have found us that way. You may have found us through it suddenly came up either on your sidebar, on your thing, or you were doing a search for something and there we were. So, if you wouldn't mind, there's a few things that you can do. So thank you very much. And as I said, we will talk to you as we can. Bye now.